WWL TV, Channel 4, New Orleans. John Snell, Angela Hill, Jim Henderson, and meteorologist Dave Barnes. This is Louisiana's news leader, Channel 4's Eyewitness News.
A standoff between New Orleans police and an alleged murder suspect ends peacefully.
An investigation on a New Orleans police officer is underway after a fatal shooting of a 16-year-old.
And white supremacists look for more followers in Ascension Parish. Good evening. A standoff between police and a murder suspect on Mandeville Street ended just a few minutes ago.
A SWAT team was able to get the man without firing any shots. Leo Alexander is at the scene and has an update. Leo?
Angela, this standoff has been going on for it started just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. It ended successfully minutes ago. The SWAT team moved in. They located him inside, asked him to come outside without his weapon. He stepped outside, just put his foot outside the building, and that's when they grabbed him. No shots were fired. There were no hostages inside. So all that was just a big bluff. Now, I'm joined with the lead negotiator and getting him out. Her name is Mrs. Roddy. Please step up here. What was your state of mind like when you were talking to him?
Just ask him as a friend, and he helped me to get out, you know.
I understand you...
I was telling him the pain is still there, but I want to help you. I keep telling him I want to help you. Just come out and release.
Did he tell you anything toward the end of it?
Before he was telling me, no, I want to kill myself. I told him it's not going to help. If you kill yourself, it's not worth it. So come out and be a man, and we're going to help you.
Thank you very much. How long did it take for him to get the message to come out and give himself up?
About 1 hour and a half.
Good work. Thank you, Mrs. Roddy. John, Angela, the standoff is over. There were no hostages. It all started on Monday night when the suspect, Mr. Abdul Jihan, killed his ex-wife, Lakita Parker, on Monday night. 33-year-old Lakita Parker was fatally wounded at the same location. He also shot a friend of his and wounded him, critically wounded him. His name is Mame Bakahan, and he's wounded, and he's over at Charity Hospital right now in critical condition. I have Sergeant Marlon DeFillo standing right next to me. Marlon, how did it go?
Well, after nearly 4 hours of constant communications with the gentleman, we were able to get him out of the house, and that was the focus, is to get him out of the house, away from the weapon, and they did just that. At that point, the members of the SWAT team moved in, were able to physically subdue him.
Okay, it was a big success then. There were no hostages.
That's correct. Apparently, the information that he had given us that there were hostages, apparently there were none after we searched the home.
So now he will be charged with what?
He's going to be charged with the first-degree murder of his wife and also attempted murder of the other man who was listed in critical condition at Charity Hospital.
Thank you very much, Sergeant DeFillo. That ends the bluff hostage situation here on Mandeville. Back to you, Angela, John.
Thank you, Leo. Well, a New Orleans police officer has been assigned to desk duties while police investigate his role in the shooting of a 16-year-old boy last night.
Police say that the teenager drew a gun on the officer first. Stephanie Regal has the story.
There have been a string of crimes in the 1500 block of Prytania Street. Just 2 weeks ago, there was an armed robbery on the corner. Police won't say if there's any connection between those crimes and last night's shooting. They will say off-duty officer Russell Philibert was doing a private patrol when he stopped two boys on bikes around 11:30 for suspicious behavior.
During that questioning, one of those subjects attempted to elude the officer by walking away. The officer followed, and during that next initial contact, that suspect was confronting the officer with a weapon.
Police say that's when Philibert drew his gun and fired at the boy, who's been identified as 16-year-old Joseph Aubrey of New Orleans. According to the coroner, Aubrey was hit 8 times.
7 of the bullet wounds were non-lethal wounds through his arms, his hand, the flesh wound in his legs, and only one of them was lethal.
Authorities haven't been able to contact Aubrey's family. Most recently, he'd been living in this foster home but had run away May 24th. Officials at the home who declined to be interviewed said they'd officially discharged him yesterday.
And we have so far that he is a foster child, and we're trying to trace back to see, if that's true and where he lives.
Police still won't describe Aubrey's and his companion's suspicious behavior, nor will they comment on whether the boys were stopped for violating the city's new juvenile curfew.
Again, we're not going to go into the suspicious activity. That is going to be part of our complete report, and we'll release that at a later time.
But the coroner's office, which has determined the bullets were fired from at least 12 feet away, says there are plenty of unanswered questions still.
We cannot draw any conclusions right now. You know, we need to investigate the case further. We need to see his toxicology results, you know, if there were any drugs involved.
Now, Officer Philip Burt, who's a 3-year veteran of the department, has been reassigned to administrative duties while the shooting is investigated. And it will be investigated by several separate entities: the District Attorney's Office, the City Office of Municipal Investigation, the Police Department's Office of Internal Affairs, as well as its Homicide Division.
All right, thanks, Stephanie. Governor Edwards' decision not to seek re-election may be threatening his special session. Mike Ross reports some lawmakers are saying that the session should be cut short and controversial issues put off for another time.
Attempt to make legal.
It's the first big sign that the governor's surprise announcement has diminished his political power.
This is something that came up pretty quickly, and people probably want a little bit more time to find out what their constituency is more interested in, as opposed to what the governor is interested in at this time, since we know he's not going to be the governor after this term.
Eyewitness News has been told that after Edwards' announcement, some lawmakers wanted to immediately pull the plug on the special session that the governor called. Instead, they've agreed to keep going, but they'll probably end the session a week sooner than the governor planned.
The legislature does have a mind of its own, and we're going to try to get out early. We're going to try to save the taxpayers money. You got to remember, we didn't make the call. We didn't call a special session. We were summoned here.
Proposals to deal with crime and to revise teacher evaluation will be debated as the governor requested. But other controversial issues, such as school prayer, will probably be left untouched.
There's no way within the short period of time we have that we could really give justice to the amount of issues we have in this special session, and a lot of them, in my opinion, shouldn't be here.
Some of the governor's allies are trying to downplay the impact of the governor's unexpected bombshell.
I guess you're going to hear rumors up here on anything, or any subject you can pick. He's made his decision, and we just go carry on like we always do.
But other legislators say privately they feel Edwards left them hanging by loading up their agenda with controversial issues, then announcing he's not going to face the voters next year, as many of them will.
Members of the legislature feel that they've got to take a little time and assess what is in the best interest of their political career. And as much as the governor is not going to be running the game, most of us are going to be running the game. What do our constituents really want?
So it's unclear at this point just what the governor will get out of the special session. What is clear, though, is that Edwin Edwards' lame duck days have already begun. At the state capitol, I'm Mike Ross, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
A new teacher evaluation plan breezed through the Senate Education Committee today, and also the House Criminal Justice Committee passed a measure that would allow police to photograph and fingerprint all juveniles arrested for serious crimes.
With the long, hot summer months ahead, parents are looking to the city's recreation department to keep kids as cool and safe as possible. Nord just got a big chunk of money to make that happen. Susan Roberts reports.
For most kids, it should be a part of growing up, playing basketball, running through the park, or swimming. But for quite a while, many kids in New Orleans have had limited summer activities because of rundown facilities.
The kids really need this park. And big kids just take over and do what they got to do. Late at night, they're shooting through the park. It's time for a change.
That change came when Mayor Mark Morial transferred $500,000 from the police department to the New Orleans Recreational Department. The money was quickly put to use. Over 250 summer jobs were filled. That's up 30% from last year.
Number one, you don't want to lift the person out of the water.
Young men and women are already being trained for lifeguard positions. 25 summer slots are still open, and the grounds are being cleaned, while the swimming pools are just days away from opening.
Some of the repairs weren't that extensive. It's just that the pools and the centers needed to be maintained, and funding needed to be given to those resources in order for them to improve.
For these guys, this summer will be different. It won't be about just playing basketball. 16 pools will be open. That's 4 times as many as last year. For kids, something as simple as swimming in the pool or playing in the park in the summer can make all the difference down the road. Where would they be without these facilities? Some say near trouble.
You know, it'll keep a lot of, younger children out of trouble. They'll have something to do during the day, and then by the curfew being on, they'll make them go inside.
The dollar spent on the facelift just may be worth more than face value. If kids are playing here, it might keep them out of trouble somewhere else. Susan Roberts, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
The 16 swimming pools will open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Still to come on Eyewitness News at 6.
A trip to Santa Maria, Louisiana, where white supremacists are working for a bigger following.
Water. It defines our landscape and our culture. It's also the life spring of a flourishing business that began as a backyard hobby for Richard Satcher and Bill Daly. In their Elysian Fields nursery, submerged gardens bloom with water lilies and Louisiana iris. Here, customers from across the Gulf South learn to create and nurture these tranquil garden ponds. We're Louisiana made, Louisiana proud at American Aquatic Gardens and WWL TV Channel 4.
30 years ago, the Ku Klux Klan was waging a war on integration in rural Ascension Parish, about 50 miles upriver from New Orleans.
Today, the Klan has reappeared in the town of Santa Maria and is trying to sign up new members. Dave McNamara reports on the revival of racial tensions.
At first glance, George Lambert Road in Santa Maria looks as peaceful as any street should in a small country town. But this Ascension Parish community is being ripped apart by a racist billboard on the side of Sam Frederick's garage, a hand-painted sign urging whites to join the Ku Klux Klan.
There ain't nobody else want to paint a sign because they're scared somebody to do them something. I said, well, that don't bother me none.
But this sign does bother some of Frederick's white neighbors.
And after they knew where he lived, they turned to our kids saying if he felt that way, then the whole neighborhood should feel this way. And we don't feel this way.
I thought this was over with. This is the 90s now. It's time to move on.
Because I want to get my country back. I want to be able to walk down the road without worrying. I want to leave my house and don't have to worry about people breaking in.
Sam Frederick won't say how many new Klan members his sign is attracting. That's secret. So are the identities of his two hooded friends, although he let it slip that one is his son.
And I'm a racist, and I'm proud of it.
And Roger Harris, the Klan's grand wizard, says America would be a better place if the races were segregated. What you really want to see is those white-only signs going back up on the schools, the restaurants, the restrooms, the buses, everything.
We don't have to put the signs up. We want to see it where the blacks would want to be with their own kind.
Me and my 3 sons had to take shifts here and guard us house every night.
30 years ago, at the other end of Ascension Parish, Amos Favorite was doing battle with Klansmen in the front yard of his Geismar home.
They shot this light out here. You could see the hole in this.
He was fighting to end segregation. Amos Favorite still doesn't have a mailbox today because of problems he had with his mail disappearing when he was battling the Klan back in the 60s. He says the Klan planted burning crosses here in front of his house every night of the week, week after week, after his daughter integrated a public school just down the road from here.
It's wrong for these people to come bother us and we're not bothering them.
But they haven't bothered you yet.
Not yet, no, but they will. See, they operate like old slimy, yellow-bellied dog. They crawl at night, under a hood.
You know that what you do bothers a lot of people, white and black.
If it intimidates them, it intimidates them. I can't help that. They intimidate me.
Today, there are extra sheriff's patrols on George Lambert Road. People here are uneasy that racism has suddenly become such a public issue in their tiny community. Dave McNamara, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
And coming up on Eyewitness News, the Knicks and Rockets get ready for Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
And the golf stars of the future battle at Freeport-McMoran Junior Classic. Jim is next with sports.
Houston is a city that has come close so many times in so many different sports, but they've never had a champion.
And they are very well aware of that, John, as you're about to see. The Houston Rockets are favored in the NBA Finals that begin tonight, but Houston teams have been favored before, as John said, and lost. A fact not lost on Rocket management, who feel like they carry the burden of the Oilers, Astros, even the University of Houston on their shoulders.
Just 4.
seconds left on the clock. Rockets trailing by 1. Vernon Maxwell takes it left to right over the circle. Goes down to the dream underneath. Elijah Wan has it. Shake and make right. Goes up with a shot. No good.
Oh, that's it. I just can't take it anymore.
The Houston Rockets would like to thank you for your support this season.
But wait, he was fouled.
Because everyone knows it's not easy being a sports fan in Houston.
One more chance, folks. Do you believe in miracles?
They hope to have one this week. The salary cap has necessitated that a lot of aging NFL stars swallow their pride if they want to keep playing, and none has more, and rightfully so, than Ricky Jackson. Apparently he will to return to the Saints, he's saying, for a final season before retiring. That's provided they can cut his salary from last year's $1.3 million to an acceptable level for both. One of the major unknowns for the Saints and every other team in the NFL, it seems to me, is what sort of attitude veterans in this situation bring with them into the locker room. Despite their years, they can obviously still help, but given the unprecedented circumstances under which they return, they can hurt as well, unless they can look forward positively and not back negatively. 120 of the best young swingers in the nation are halfway home at English Turn, as Doug Greengard reports from the second round of the Freeport-McMoran Junior Classic.
Who knows? Someday, David Bruno just might be firing approach shots at the flag in the PGA Tour's Freeport-McMoran Classic. But this week, he's playing in the junior version of that tournament, and it suits the soon-to-be junior at Country Day High just fine.
Well, this is just like a dream. I mean, any young golfer thinks about one day playing in an AJGA tournament and maybe one day winning. I mean, this is big time for our league. It doesn't get any. This is the top notch, and it's just an honor to play, even if you don't do well or not. It's always fun.
One of the youngest participants in the tournament is Mandeville's Laura Blessy. Just turned 15, she has 3 more years to participate on the junior circuit, and she'll be soaking up some additional experience this week. She rebounded from a first-round 86 to make the cut, thanks to a 6-over par 78 today.
You know how you get nervous and you have all the crowds watch you and they're clapping for you, and it's, you know, and I know that sometimes when I'm playing well over putts, you know, you say, well, this is for the U.S. Open or this is for some great tournament, and you either, you know, and it's good experience just for being nervous and seeing how it feels and getting used to it, because there's going to be a lot of it on tour and future.
And maybe a future on the LPGA Tour. At English Turn, Doug Greengard, Eyewitness Sports.
Jeff Fehrenbruck and Grace Park are the leaders out there halfway through the tournament. The San Francisco Giants have now lost Will Clark to free agency and the guy they'd moved into his slot in the batting order to a torn Achilles tendon. And that's a lot of offense to lose, which is reflected in the team's current sub-500 record. Last night in Pittsburgh, Willie McGee ranged into the gap, trying to flag down Orlando Merced's drive. He'll crash into the wall, and his left ankle gives way as he does. Merced got a triple. McGee got a torn left Achilles tendon. There's a good chance that he will miss the rest of the season. Braves won again over the Padres today, 5-2. The Cardinals pound out 14 hits, John, in defeating the Reds 8-2 in the 8th. The Mets are leading the Rockies 4-3. The White Sox edged the Blue Jays over in the American League 3-2. 10 runs in the 5th propelled the Tigers past the Red Sox 14-5. And California has edged Minnesota 5-4. And again, Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight.
He was pretty excited.
He was about those Cardinals.
The Reds have been leading, you know, most of the year. Yeah. It's like 2 games in 1. They lose, you win. I don't know.
He is excited. All right. Just ahead, Dave is going to let us know how long this heat wave will be with us, about 5 months.
His forecast is up next.
This really isn't a heat wave. It's June.
I don't know. It's
Really?
It's warmer than normal, I'll
It
tell you
is?
that, especially for this time of year. Yeah, by about 3 or 4 degrees. It's on the hot side, and we finally got a few isolated thunderstorms that broke out.
You know, it was breezy this morning, and that really made it better.
It felt good, but what happened to the breeze this afternoon?
What?
It felt
dropped
great
off.
today.
It dropped off, and it felt hot, and it is hot. Still in the low 90s in much of the region. We have partly cloudy skies, 91 at the airport, 90 at the Audubon Zoo, and 89 in Slidell. The heat index has dropped all of 1 degree. It's down to 99 at the present time. Humidity stands at 54%, wind southwest at only 8 miles per hour. The pressure is falling, and our high this afternoon at the airport got up to 92. The overnight low was 75, and there was no rain. And finally, we had a few isolated thunderstorms that have broken out. Actually, it's a line of showers and thunderstorms north of Covington that extends eastward into Mississippi at the present time, but those are the only showers that I've been able to find so far today anywhere in the area. Most of the showers, as you can see on national radar is far to our east, far to our north, and far to our west at the present time. But those widely scattered thunderstorms you just saw will probably diminish in the next 2 or 3 hours and end, but they'll be around for a little while longer. But as you see, they're far to the north of New Orleans. Today, a lot of clear skies, a lot of sunshine. That's why our high temperatures got up to an average of about 92. Not shown here in the French Quarter. We got up to 97 degrees. But the entire area ranged between the low and the mid-90s. In fact, the nighttime low last night at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi was 80. How about that? Here's our forecast for tonight. There'll be a few isolated thunderstorms around. They'll be ending during the next 2 or 3 hours. Low temperatures tonight will be in the 70s again, and tomorrow, same story. Just enough moisture to have some widely scattered afternoon and evening thunderstorms, but not very many. And that's going to be the same story for the rest of the week. Here's that forecast then for tomorrow. Mostly sunny and hot, with a few widely scattered afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Chance of rain about 20 or 30%. High temperatures about 90 to 95 degrees. And here comes the marine forecast. Winds will be blowing from the southwest as an average, though quite variable, at between 8 and 15 knots. Seas about 2 to 3 feet. Just a chance for some isolated thunderstorms is in the picture. Here's the tides, or here are the tides. The range on the tides about 1.5 feet. Lake temperature 85, sea temperature 82, and the extended forecast indicates the chance for rain 20% tomorrow, 30% the rest of the week, and it'll remain on the hot side. And I have a little bit of good news.
Yes.
You notice that Captain Lennox did not report this afternoon, and that's because he's had some minor surgery, but he is doing well.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's good. We send him our best.
And Angela would like to now explain to the rest of us that it was light and breezy and felt wonderful outside today.
It was not bad this morning. It really wasn't.
That's at 5 o'clock in the morning, though.
No.
That's 5 o'clock in the morning. That's the news. Thanks for watching.
Till 10. Have a good evening.